E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Inspirational Stories. Jim, you're in rare form today, buddy.
I mean to tell you, we've been playing peekaboo. During the intro, I was bumping myself backstage, and she brought me back, and I bumped her backstage, and then she bumped both of us backstage. So we've been having a ball today, ladies and gentlemen, and we're continuing because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Well,
I mean,
not 100%, but close.
Yeah, that's when we're going to wrap it up, is Valentine's Day. But
exactly.
But we're so glad you tuned in today to be with Donna and myself. I'd like to share a little story, if I may. You probably, you've heard a lot of it before, but Donna and I became great friends just by the energy pulling us together. We did not sit down and plan this. And the reason I share that with you is because when you're looking for, people that's lonely and need friends, don't try to force it.
Right.
Because it never works. It really doesn't. And when you try to force something, you're actually pushing your will against the energy out there, and it makes things harder for you. And we just, the energy actually pulled us together. It really did.
It did.
Because we're like-minded. We have the same kind of interest. And we also, that energy has invited two of our, kids, you might say, in. Donna's daughter is working with us now, and we're very excited to have her with us. My granddaughter, Michaela Vidal, is with us. And so it's just amazing how when the energy is when you're in step and harmony with yourself, the energy attracts what you need in your life. It really does. And so many people, a lot of people justify that they can't find friends or they don't have any pals, because you need a pal. You really do. You need friends. We all need friends.
Absolutely. We are not sedentary creatures. We are social creatures.
Oh, yeah. I know people that I've known a couple of people, let me rephrase that. They kind of like self-justified the reason why they were alone, and they chose to be hermits. And you can't be a hermit. You got to come out of your shell. We're going to be talking about some things today about that today, aren't we, Donna?
We are. And, one of the things I wanted to open up the show with is This is, most of us all over a certain age, I should say, know who Zig Ziglar is.
Why'd you say? Yeah.
And so I'm on one of the groups for Zig Ziglar. And I love this. This came out, and it says, be a reflection of what you'd like to see in others. If you want love, give love. If you want honesty, give honesty. If you want respect, give respect. You get in return what you give. And that is truly a lot what friendship is all about.
It really is, Donna. You are so correct on that, because, growing up, our parents always told us, at least my parents did, you're known by the company you keep.
Oh, yes.
And I
And
always,
your by your actions.
yep.
Hmm.
And your name is very important. Dad was real big about the family name. He was real big about that. He explained it using physical terms such as thump therapy. But the thing that I want to share with you folks is that you want to be able to be the kind of person that you want your friends to be. Look for people like that. Look for people who are kind. Look for people who
Honest,
are honest and give, because what you give, you're going to get in return.
right?
And that can be good or bad. I mean, if you give out meanness, you're going to get meanness in return.
Right. And look
And
for people who share the integrity that you have,
mhm, the morals, the values, and the ethics, as I like to
right?
call it.
That's a biggie,
Yeah.
and we've talked about that on the show. And I think we talked about it a couple days ago, but
Hmm.
that is a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
That,
Absolutely.
that is a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
If the integrity isn't there, then doesn't mean I dislike you. It just means we're not going to connect,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
We just aren't going to connect on an energetic level.
Hmm. You're exactly right there. And, Donna, it's really amazing how, whenever you're looking for a friend, you want to make sure that there's perfect harmony between your beliefs and their beliefs.
Right.
You don't want to try and change someone. How,
Absolutely.
how many times have we heard stories of a couple gets married and one thinks they can change the other one?
Right.
I've never known it to work. Have you?
No, not really.
Hmm.
Not really. But there's something else too. When you are looking and you want to have a relationship, whether
Hmm.
it's a friend or, a partner in your life, they always say that um, when you're not looking for it is and when you least expect it,
Oh,
sneak
yeah.
in. And I got to tell you, that's the absolute truth, at least in my life with
Hmm.
my husband. And
Yeah.
I've known him for 40 years.
Hmm.
But we
in a
have a lot of life in between, right?
Yeah, in a previous show, I shared about when I came back from Vietnam and my former girlfriend, that was a disconnect. So I wound up at Fort Huachuca. I still got 10 months left in the Army. So getting married was the last thing on my mind. And the way I met Evelyn, I had a date with a girl, and we were going to meet at this party or this dance. And so I'm standing there and I'm waiting for her, and I'm at the bar and I'm drinking a few beers. You got to do something while you're waiting. And and I looked over across the dance floor and I saw this girl. I thought it was that girl sitting with another guy. So I go around the dance floor. And what's really interesting is that a normal human being would do what? Look at the girl that's facing you to make sure that's the right one.
Right?
But not me. For some reason, and I think this was a higher source, I was looking at the guy she was sitting with. And you can ask Delvin because I walked up to him and I kind of tapped him on the shoulder and I says, "Hi, how's it going?" I said, "Would you like to dance?" I said, in my mind says, "You moron, that's not the right girl." And Evelyn was kind of taken back. She says, "Oh, okay." And she got up. Fortunately, it was a slow dance. And I said, I said, "Oh, yeah, an apology. I mistook you for somebody else. I hope I didn't create any problem with you and your boyfriend." And she says, "Well, he's not my boyfriend. He dates one of my friends. We're just friends." And I thought, yeah, and if looks could kill, I'd be shaking hands with the Undertaker before the stroke of midnight. Because just like a woman can pick up things on about other women and their
Hmm.
guys. He made it very clear to me that we were never going to exchange Christmas cards. I'll put it like that.
Was
But
totally off the permanent Christmas card list.
yeah, but see, that's how we actually first met. Now, we hooked up later on. I saw her another dance and talked to her. But that's how we initially met. Because if I'd have looked at her naturally, and normally I would, I don't know why I didn't. I think it
Right.
comes from a higher source, but I would have just veered off and we'd have never met.
Right.
But that's how that's how things are unplanned that come in your life. That's how we met.
It's amazing when you just kind of let go, let
Yeah.
go and let your energy flow.
Hmm.
And what comes out of that is just miraculous. It is
Mm.
miraculous. That's how we find friends. We are all super busy. And I know my core friends are really, really busy as well. And the beautiful thing about them is I still got my best friend in Ohio. I've got
Mhm.
best friends here. We can not talk for ever, right? I hadn't been
Mhm.
back to Ohio in 5 years, and I flew back in December. And my girlfriend and we went out for dinner, and it was like we saw each other yesterday.
Mhm.
And we will always, Lisa and I will always, always be best friends.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's really amazing because with friends like that, when you come back together, time has stood still.
Right? It's non-existent.
Yeah, it really is. That's what's neat about it. And Donna, when it comes to finding friends, the thing a person has to do is to start looking, because one of the things that you can just type in would be things to do in your hometown, in your immediate area. Things to
Right?
do. I mean, I did it right here in this little town of Brenham, and I saw a couple things I didn't even know existed.
Right?
They've been here forever, longer than I have anyway. But
Right?
that's an example. And we also talked earlier in the week, Don, about how people could get involved with the civic clubs.
Right?
That's a great place to be.
Any organization that you have an interest in is a great place to be involved because you automatically put yourself in the position to meet the kind of friends that you are, to meet the
Hmm.
kind of friends that you want.
Yeah. It's people ask me why I spent 31 years in the military, and of course, I was 28 of them were in the reserves. But my point being is that I loved it.
Hmm.
And when I was an instructor for 12 years, we had such a great unit out of Albuquerque, the 3rd Battalion, 95th Training Division. I'm a lifetime member of the 95th. I was honored with that certificate. But my point was when I'd go to summer camp, because we covered 9 states, and the only
Wow.
time we got to see all the other ones is when we went to summer camp. They bring us all together, and it was like a family reunion. And I remember me and another guy talking about, hey, if the Army's dumb enough to pay us, we'll be dumb enough to go to the bank and cash our check, because it was that much fun, a jubilee,
Right.
because we came together, and it was just like a family reunion. It really
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
And I stayed in because of the people.
Right.
Because, and I never will forget, after I mandatorily retired in 2004, I thought, wow, this getting old is a new experience for me, because I've been young all my life. Now I'm too old for anything. And I think I was getting too ugly too. But anyway,
Oh,
uh, that's another story. We're not going to go there today. But my point being, the reason I stayed in so long was because of the people. We had so much in common. I
right.
mean, imagine if you're sitting down with a bunch of your friends, and you're all instructors, you all do the same thing, and one person say, okay, who wants to do this? If someone wants to do this, I'll do that. You want to trade with this or that? And we were all team players like that.
Right.
The chemistry was there.
Right.
And, and Donald, I think that's what people are looking for in their life, is good chemistry between them and others.
Absolutely. Because the chemistry is obviously what interests us. And
Hmm.
we get to know people and find out that, they're our kind of tribe, right? They're the ones that we want to be hanging around.
Hmm.
Um, whether it's in business or your personal life. And, like I have uh Jim is my friend, he's
Hmm.
family, right? But he is also my business partner.
Hmm.
But that for us is just it's hand in hand, right?
Mm.
It's like
Oh.
it's like peas and carrots, folks. I
Hmm.
mean, we'll start out, we'll call each other, on the phone. It'll be just a, hey, how you doing? And then next thing you know, an hour later, we've had another mastermind about the business.
The other day, I was wrestling with a situation, and we're gonna be in Tomball, Texas, I think, weren't we?
We certainly are.
And we're working with Mr. Marty Haggard. He's going to be at the Main Street crossing there in Tomball, Texas on Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. And we've been invited down there. We're going to be doing some filming and stuff with him. And Marty's a great friend of ours. We've had him on we've had him on several shows.
Right.
He was originally on my radio show. And then Donna was there, and then Donna invited us. She invited me and Marty to join her on her radio show. She shows such a shy lady. Hey, Marty, you want to be on my show? This was about within a minute after we went off the air.
Right.
But my point being, I was working with another good friend of ours, Mr. Emerson Brantley, and we were talking about a problem. And I was thinking, huh. And then Donna sent me a text and says, do you have a minute? So I picked up the phone and called her. And that minute turned into an hour plus.
An hour plus.
So if she asks for 2 minutes, that's going to be 2 hours, it looks like. But in that conversation, she wanted to discuss a suggestion to me. And then immediately I'm going like, wait a minute. And we got the brainstorming, and we came up with an answer for what her idea was and for the problem I was wrestling with.
Right.
Just like that.
Yep.
And our good friend Aaron at E360 TV and Emerson, they say, that's a great idea. Well, it's all Donna's fault. I mean, she's the one that sent the text. But my point in sharing it with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that when you have the right people in your life and you have, a good brainstorm,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not talking about business. I'm just talking about, hey, if you're going to have a birthday party, it's fun to have others buy in and plan on that because others come in
Right.
with good ideas.
Right.
And everybody needs, at least let me say this, I know from personal experience, I need some good ideas. Look at her laughing at me. I mean, here I am pouring my heart out all over the world, and she's sitting there and she's giggling at me. If I live to be 300, I'm not going to get any respect.
Okay, Mr. Facetious himself right there, folks. But it is true. It is true. When you have friends or you are making friends and it's
Yes.
somebody new, the best thing to do, obviously, is say, hey, do you like coffee? Do you like this? Do you like,
Mhm.
do you like arcade games? Whatever it is that you're into, and
Mhm.
find out their interest.
Yeah.
And that's, oh my gosh. And then
Mhm.
right away, you have that connection.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. And with the way COVID is, and I know a lot of people are still concerned about going out and all that. Well, whoop-de-doo. I mean, you look at Facebook, you can
Right.
create your very own group. And I would recommend for you to keep it a private group. People have to receive your permission to join,
Right.
because otherwise you'll just have people flocking in there left and right because you want people to be like-minded. And you can start a group on anything that you want. Let's talk about our pets or whatever.
I mean,
Let's.
several Great Pyrenees groups on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'm blue healers. I'm a Australian cattle dog. I've had blue and red healer. I've had 3 blue healers and 1 red healer, and I tell you, I just love those dogs.
Hmm.
I really do. And being a dog lover is one of the greatest blessings of life. And you've seen my little kitty, Dixie. Some of you folks, if you've watched the show long enough, you've seen Dixie on here because she wants to demand my attention. Like, who are you talking to?
Right. If I don't shut the studio door, I've got cats coming in here left and right.
That's right. She'll have cats one on each shoulder, one on top of the head, and that sort of thing because she's
Right.
got 4.
One on my lap.
But we went down and we got Dixie at the animal shelter when she was a little kitten. So therefore we gave her a home that she needed. And it's been just a blessing in our house because she's a little personality. I call her Dixie Doo because anything that Dixie wants to do, she does. And she doesn't ask my permission. But what's neat about her, this morning she does it, not every morning because she's got to get up early, but if I'm a little late getting up, she comes for me.
She
And
lets you
she,
know.
she'll take her one little claw and she'll kind of like scratch my arm a little bit. Not scratch it, but just let me, it's kind of like a little tapping there. And I'll pet her. And if I don't get up, then she'll take her feet and start walking either on my side or my abdomen,
Mhm.
back and forth. Because to her, it's time for me to get it up, get it in gear, and get out there because she wants a treat.
Right.
How dare me lay there and I mean, who do you think you are?
Right.
That's why
Right.
I love their personalities because
Oh, absolutely.
they because a cat walks to the beat of their own drum, and I get a kick out of them. I really do.
You know, it's funny. I've got four cats, and they're not quite full grown yet. And
Mm.
you know, it's amazing because they do not like to share mom time.
Oh,
So if one cat is up in my lap and the other cat doesn't, one of the other cats doesn't know it, and the other cat jumps up, kind of looks around, and the other cat must give off a little message, and the other cat jumps down. But it's like that is their time, and they want
yeah,
their mama loving time, and
hmm,
you don't get to be a part of it.
yeah. When I came home from the hospital stay when I had open heart surgery in November, I came home, and of course it's Dixie's on Evelyn's lap, and she didn't want to. She would come close to me, but she would not get on me. And she kind of like kept looking at me like, "What happened to you?
Right.
If you would stay home, you wouldn't have got all whatever they did to you. They did to you because she could smell,
Oh yeah. She's
and
probably thinking you stink.
yeah, yeah. And she's probably thought she probably thought I was out tomcatting around and got whooped. But it took her. I was home. We count. It was 22 days. I was operated on November the 1st. I came home on the 6th, which is a Saturday. And it was 22 days before she finally got on my lap.
Wow.
22 days. And so it's a very unusual for her to be like that. But she would just, I don't know if she sensed that I was, opened up because I had that
Right.
incision in my chest. Maybe she just sensed like I don't want to hurt him anymore. But she
Right.
would sit there and look at me like, you know, she'd watch me.
Oh,
I mean,
how funny.
I'd be sitting here and I look over there and she's sitting there staring at me like, are you okay? Are you going to come unglued over there?
Right.
Because that's what they
Right.
do. They push everything together and they glue you shut. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
I tell people the Band-Aid truck didn't show up that day.
Right. But you know, it is true. Animals are such an intricate part of our life.
Mm,
And but what I
yes.
love is there are some similarities, Jim, about making friends is about being open and accepting
Oh, yeah.
while using your best judgment
Hmm.
to sort out the kind of people that you want to be with.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And talking about animals, I mean, a lot of people are on a tight budget, and people respect that. And you might get on a Facebook group and you say, I'm looking for a pet.
Mhm.
I can give it a great home, but I can't afford, $150 or whatever they charge.
Yeah, for cats it's about 150. I'm not sure what it is
Yeah,
for puppies or
yeah,
kittens, I should say.
yeah. And just be open and honest, with the people.
Right.
And it's amazing how people, when you ask for their help, especially if they can help someone, how total strangers will be eager to help you.
Absolutely.
And that's important because we all need help. We all need, we need a friend. That's like a James Taylor song, You Need a Friend. We all need a friend.
Right.
We
Well,
really
and
do.
one of the things that we can do is break out of our daily routine.
Mm.
Put yourself into, um, a different scenario that you wouldn't normally do, but it will put you in that place to maybe find somebody that you want to go have coffee with.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Donna. You're so correct on that because find people that have things in common with you that, maybe you want to go to the movies and
Mhm.
you don't have anybody to go with. Well, find somebody because there's somebody else out there that doesn't have anybody to go to the movies with.
Right.
It could be a girl if you're a girl. It could be a guy if you're a guy. Whatever. I mean, it's a starting point because once you start sharing that you're a loving, caring person with others, because that's what you want. You want someone to love you and you want someone to care for you. So if you give that first, you can expect that in return.
Absolutely.
That's a universal promise.
Absolutely.
It's not some pretty speech, it's a universal promise.
Um, I wanted to put this up there. Our
Oh,
email. Um,
oh,
yeah, I wanted to get our email. And
okay.
the other thing is when you're out and about and you meet people, and people usually, hey, would you like to get together for, a cup of coffee, a drink, whatever?
Hmm.
Make a point of accepting those invitations.
Hmm. Right.
Make a point. That's a big one because especially if you're a little bit introverted,
Oh, yeah.
right? So sometimes it's hard to get out of our own way. It
Hmm.
is hard to get out of our own dadgum way.
Yeah.
But when you don't accept that invitation, then guess what? Where you're at is where you're always going to be.
Yeah. Because sometimes in your home there, and your home should be a secure and safe place, but you feel
Right.
safe, you feel secure. And if you're an introvert, you got to leave your security to go out
Right.
and maybe meet with some people, but do it. And if if you wanted to bring someone else along, just ask them, is it okay if I bring my friend along
Right.
and invite them along? Because listen up, if they're the kind of people you want for a friend, they will say yes.
Right.
I believe that, unless there's very limited space or something of this nature,
Right.
something that physically restricts it. But generally speaking, rule of thumb, they will say yes.
Hmm. And obviously, everybody should be safe.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
Everybody
yeah.
should be safe.
Hmm.
So obviously, you always want to meet in a public place until you,
Hmm.
really get to know somebody and, protects you, protects them, etc.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I do think it's important to accept the invitations. I also think it's important if somebody texts you, obviously, that you respond to them as
Hmm.
soon as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because I like to look at it like this, Jim. When somebody reaches out to you, they either text you, they call you, hey, what are you doing? How are
Hmm.
you? Hey, do you want to get together, go to a movie, go for a drink?
Hmm.
They're actually giving part of themselves away.
Yeah.
They're opening up, right? And they are
Hmm.
being vulnerable. And to me, it's very important to respect that and return it in kind.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You take like Facebook. I've got I don't know how many friends on there. It's in the thousands, and when I say friends, people that wanted to join and become friends, and that's fine. Usually, they got to have we got to have common friends. I want to know a little bit of
Right?
something about them, and if they block their what they call it, block the page or whatever, or I
Oh,
forget
make
what they
it
call it.
totally private.
Yeah, private. Yeah, and I can't see anything. I'm going. Well, I don't know if I want to friend that person or not because you don't know who that person is,
They do that to
and
me, I block them.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, because if you're going to be invite me to be a friend, at least tell me who you are. That's
Right?
yeah. But my point being, and where I'm going with this, is that go down through your friends list. I'm talking about people that you hadn't talked to in 2 or 3 years, and just reach out to them. Doesn't matter if they're in another state. Doesn't matter. Reach out to them and just say, I hadn't talked to you in a long time. I just want to let you know I was thinking of you. Hope you're doing well.
Right.
And just a simple thing like that. And if you want to make it easy on yourself, you can copy that message because it's coming from the heart anyway. Because you may
Right.
find 5 or 6 friends and just paste and send it.
Right.
And, so definitely reach out because there's a lot of lonely people out there. And true
Mhm.
friends want to hear from you anyway. They really do.
Right. And if you want to make that a social event, that's a fun
Mhm.
thing to do.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
say, hey, XYZ concert or whatever. Anyone want to get a group of us together and go?
Yeah.
We haven't seen each other in forever.
Yeah. Set up a Zoom call and have a trivia night. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
Right? Right?
I'm,
That's fun.
yeah,
That's fun.
I always get invited to those because I entertain people a lot. Because I don't know anything. I can't remember much about trivia. I know it's in the past, but that's about it.
You're you are so silly. He's one of the brightest men I've ever met in my life.
I tell you, you know, there's so many things you can do to be a friend. And if you look how to be a friend first, that's when friends are going to come to you. And
Right.
I'm looking here at this list that we got here, Donna, and you know, it's so important what you said there about accepting someone's kindness and friendship.
Right.
And if something you've got a conflicting schedule, be sure and say, "Thank you so much for inviting me. I've got another, commitment,
Right.
but ask them, can we get together in the future? You
Right.
know,
What is an alternative time and
yeah,
date for you?
yeah. That way they
Let's
know that
coordinate our schedules.
that way they know something else prevented you from accepting it, and
Exactly.
yeah, and that's encouraging. It really is. I want to bring that point out. I forgot about that. But Donna, having friends, eh, they make life worth living. They really do
Mhm.
because you can call them in your hour of need.
Yep.
You can share things with them. You can say, "Hey, I'm going through a tough time right now,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'd just like for you to remember me in your thoughts and prayers." You don't have to go into the details.
I mean, if you have a trusted friend, that's great.
Yeah. hmm But if you don't feel comfortable in sharing that, just say, "I'm not really, I just need some, did you keep you to keep me in your thoughts and prayers."
I did that with a friend of mine, and she
Mm,
is an amazing woman.
mm,
And I had sent her I am, and I said that basic thing.
mm,
And she said, "Do you want to talk about it right now?" I said, "No, not right
mm.
now." She said, "I didn't think so, but okay."
Yeah. hmm
And then she sent me a I am, oh, a week or two later. She said, "Hey, be on the lookout. You're going to get something in the mail." And she sent me the most beautiful cup. And it's one of the cups that I cherish that I use. It's a teacup. It's got the top for it,
hmm
to keep your tea warm. And
hmm
I absolutely love it. I mean, that is such, I mean, we have had such long talks and so many things about each other, but it's beautiful to know that you have that kind of a friendship.
Oh, yeah. It really is. And Donna, you've been such a wonderful person to help people because you help people, overcome obstacles in their life because you say it's either a person, a place, or a thing, or a combination of the two or three or whatever.
Right?
But people want to get in touch with you. They could just email you at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. You see it there on the little marquee. And it's really important because Donna will be more than happy to share 30 minutes of her time with you. And
Absolutely.
it's complimentary. There's no obligation or anything like that. And if she could spend an hour with me on the phone, I know she can spend 30 minutes with you. But take advantage of that because it's,
Absolutely. And, because we get blocked, guys, we get
Mhm,
blocked. We all do. It's just human nature. We get
mm,
blocked where we're at. So,
mhm,
maybe it's anxiety. Maybe you want to learn a breathing technique that I've helped people with. Whatever it is, I'm there to help you.
mhm. Like breathing techniques, I didn't know for the longest time you breathe. with your belly. I mean,
Right,
not your lungs, but your belly. Expand your belly. And I didn't know that for many years. I mean, I just didn't know.
right.
But that's very important because the oxygen content you get is very, very important. Otherwise, uh,
If you don't breathe from your belly and
mhm,
get that deep breath, you
mhm,
actually don't get enough oxygen up into your head.
yeah, and that can really with your brain, it kind of cramps your brain and all that. And I'm a living testament of that. And
With my MS, I've already got issues with the myelin sheath being dead. About
oh yeah,
15 spots I don't need anymore.
I hear you. I hear you. And taking vitamin D is real good for the brain too.
Yeah, it's good for
And
the whole body.
yes, yes, and uh, we both take about 10,000 IUs. Is it IUs or what do they call those
I
things?
use.
Yeah, about 10,000 units of that per day. Which if ours has got, I think it's 500, so I take two of those a day. You know, 5,000, excuse me. I take two of those a day. But the point being is that it's very, very critical for your heart, your stomach, and your brain. Those three must work in harmony because if they get out of balance, your emotions get out of balance, and it makes you harder to live the life that you so richly deserve.
Right. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Mhm.
So, there's, Jim, you talked about um, people looking for groups. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that. There are
Okay.
so many out there.
Mhm.
All you have to do is Google in what your interest is and
Mhm.
your town and state.
Mhm.
And it is amazing how
Mhm.
many pop up. If you like to go dancing, you know, if you want to take dance lessons, it just, whatever it is, I think it's out there,
Oh yeah. Oh, it
right?
definitely is.
Right?
It definitely is. And being with like-minded people who have the same interests in you, that's the common denominator.
Hmm.
It really is.
That's the spice of life right there, folks.
Mhm.
The
It sure
spice of
is.
life.
Mhm.
You want to do fun things and go out. Oh my goodness gracious.
Mhm.
Oh
Oh.
my goodness gracious. There's just uh, literally thousands of things to do
Oh
around you.
yeah. Oh yeah. And a great example. I met Marty Haggard back in 2017. He was playing over in Tomball at the Main Street Crossing. In fact, I invited. That's where I met him. No, no, no. I met him here in Brenham. Excuse me. And Evelyn came to me and she says, "You want to go hear Marty Haggard?" And I says, "Here's my ignorance." I said, "Who's he?" Because that's what I said. I said, "Haggard, I said, it's not Merle." Says, "This is Merle's oldest son. And let's go hear him." I said, "Okay." I went to hear him and I immediately became a Marty Haggard fan because of his personality, because he looks like his dad, he sounds like his dad.
Right?
And I hung around because Marty stayed there until everybody had their picture taken. Everybody wanted to say anything. And so I was hanging around letting everybody else go because I wanted to talk to him some. And I got a picture with him. And that was in 2017. And then in 2020, I was looking for a guest and I thought, well, COVID and all that. I contacted him through his email and all, and asked if he'd like to be a guest on the show. And I sent him a picture. I said, "This is who I am. I met you in Brenham and blah, blah, blah." And he wrote, and his secretary wrote back, Jody, that we know, and says, "Absolutely. He'd love to be on your show." Going, whoa.
Right?
And from that, because we have the same kind of heart, we have the same type of interest, we have identical morals, values, and
Right.
ethics. Uh, he's been on several shows now with us, and we're going to be doing some more things with him. And he just flat dab told me and Donna says, "Hey, I trust you, no problem."
Right. Right.
I mean, think about the credibility and the value that we have given and shown. And that's the type of credibility and value you want to show because you got to show that first before someone could, have that kind of relationship with you.
That kind of trust.
Yes. Hmm.
That
And it
kind of
doesn't
trust.
matter doesn't matter about him being a star or anything like that. I mean, or his dad
No,
being a huge star. That didn't come into the picture at all. It really
no,
doesn't. I mean,
no.
it just doesn't.
And
And
the beautiful thing about, like, with Marty, he has such an incredible sense of humor.
oh yeah, oh
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, he's got a great sense of humor.
Hmm.
And I've teased him on air before about saying, with all due respect to your mom, I don't think she had you because you are just a spitting image of Merle. And he
It
just
really, yeah,
laughed.
absolutely. And it's really amazing how he's made you cry twice on the show that I know of.
Three
Three
times.
times, three
Three
times.
times. Marty Haggard has made me cry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
With tears of joy, bringing back precious memories.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Because
much fun.
oh yeah, because it's amazing how you can hear a song or something like that, and it takes you right back there.
Well, and also for me, it's Marty has an extremely gentle voice,
Mm,
very
yes.
very gentle, and you can feel the warmth from it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so when he was talking about some of the songs and stuff, and then you're listening to him talk in his real gentle voice, it was like, okay, I'm mush.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just done.
I love it when on the show there, and the show's recorded here on the YouTube. Just go to our YouTube channel, Message of Inspirational Stories TV show, and it's let's see, season 1, episode 4. So it's way down at the bottom.
Right?
We got him on the first week, and it's amazing how he was talking about Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah.
And he says, he's one of the nicest persons on planet Earth.
Hmm.
And when he went to Nashville, Johnny took him under his wing
Hmm.
and kind of took care of him some because this is when Marty was starting his career. And I remember Marty talking about he had owed Johnny $245.
That was so funny.
And he says, I still owe him $245, because I tried to pay him 100 times and he
Right?
wouldn't take it.
Right?
He wouldn't take it, Johnny Cash. And he talks about I didn't know him as a star, like he didn't know his dad as a star. He knew Johnny Cash as a real nice person.
That's a friend.
Yeah. And same way with Marty. He was named after Marty Robbins.
Right.
And they were. In fact, he was a pallbearer at Marty
Honorary
Robbins'
pallbearer.
honorary pallbearer. Thank you. At his funeral, and it's really important. See, those folks there, they realize the value of friendship because they don't say, "Hey, I'm a star and everybody's going to like me or whatever." They were far from that.
Right.
That was not anywhere in their world at all. It didn't exist. And
It
I
just
mean,
happened to be what they did for a living.
yeah, I mean, being an entertainer was their job.
Right.
That was it. And Marty talks about his dad says, this thing about being a star kind of gets him away because all I want to do is play music and have fun.
Right. But I mean, the one of the points that um, Jim is going with this is they've made friends just like we all do through other
Right.
friends,
Hmm.
right? So, there's that. We can make friends through other friends.
Right. They sure can.
And oh my goodness. And then it just enriches everybody's life
Hmm.
tenfold.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing when someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, you just got to meet this person
Oh, yeah. Oh my
because,"
gosh. You guys are so much alike. You're going to have
yeah,
so much fun.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And it's
I
really
love that.
amazing. Yeah, I do too. And because there's someone out there that really is wanting you to reach out and find them and being a
Absolutely.
friend and showing people that you care about people, you love people, and you want to be cared for.
Right.
You show that, demonstrate that, and it's going to come back in return. Goodness, goodness, goodness. I
Absolutely.
I tell you, it just blows me away how simple things are in life, and so many times we make it hard.
Well, we make it complicated.
Yes, yes,
We complicate the simple things in life
mm,
that are truly not complicated.
yeah,
I mean, they're just not complicated. And, I hate to say it, but the older I get, the more I realize that. And the more I realize, how, and I've known for some time, many, many, many years, um, a good 25, 30 years, how bright my parents were. They were absolutely right. And they would say, some of the things that, all make sense a little later in life. Maybe not necessarily when I was like 25, but after, because I had my babies late in life. But
mhm.
after I started having babies and whatnot, man, and then when they got to be teenagers, I could hear my mom and dad saying things in my head. And I went,
Mhm.
oh, I get it now.
Oh
But,
yeah,
we make things really complicated when they should be simple.
you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And so many times you see people that they're in a relationship and they say it's complicated.
Right?
You
I see
know,
that all the time. I'm like,
oh yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's just it really shouldn't be complicated because
no,
if you're meant
you
to be
know,
together, you're meant to be together. If not,
right. My husband had asked his mother one time, he said, Mom, how do you know when you found the right one for you? And she was just a little teeny bitty thing. I think she was like 4 foot, 4'9", 4'10", maybe tops. And she looked at him and she said, well, that's easy. She said, when it's really easy, it's it's right.
mm,
And I've read about this and it's interesting. We meet somebody and we get the butterflies, maybe a romantic interest. And we meet somebody and it's all butterflies and it's this and it's that. And I read somewhere that said, and I can't remember the entire article, but basically it said those aren't always the real feelings that you need because at some point those butterflies go away,
oh yeah,
right? And so when you meet somebody and you're with them and you're just holding their hand or just excited that they're in the same room with you,
hmm,
it's easy.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's face it. When it comes to people that say their relationship is complicated, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but let's be honest. Using me an example, when I was young, I wanted to, when I argued with Evelyn, sometimes I wanted to argue with her, and she'd argue back. She was real kind like that to argue back with me. and but really, when you think about it, neither one of us wanted to solve the problem.
Right.
Our focus was on what?
Winning, making your point of view heard, winning,
Yeah, winning the argument. If you
right?
guys are out there, I never did this, but I've known people do this. Don't bring the relatives into it. You know, I mean, that just throws fuel on the fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship,
Hmm.
when you have constant communication,
Hmm.
and I do mean constant communication, problems don't arise like they do if you don't have that constant communication.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because if you tell someone how you feel,
Right.
and if it's a good fit for you, they'll be there for you. If it isn't, then that's not a good fit for you. If they're not
Right.
there for you, it really isn't.
Right.
And it really amazes me how we can get caught up in the process and we lose focus of the content. The
Right.
content of life is that you want to live in peace and harmony. You want to love and be loved. because nobody starts out in a relationship looking for a fuss and a fight.
Right?
I mean,
Who
really,
wants that?
it's, yeah, exactly. And, whenever it comes to, being with someone, be with someone that is worthy of you.
We were watching a show the other night, my husband and I.
Hmm.
And on the show, this guy was telling his friend that um, his grandmother asked him about his then wife, or he wasn't married to her yet, and said, "Can you live without her? That's how you know." And we talked about that for a moment. And for us, at least, it's very different. We can live without each other.
Hmm.
I don't need him to take out the trash or, paint a wall, or he does it
Hmm.
better than I do, but I don't need him to do that, right? What we chose and love is that we made it makes our life better
Hmm.
by having each other in it and more
Yeah.
complete. But we don't need each other in our lives.
Hmm.
There's a
Right.
big difference between that.
Yeah. There really is, Donna. There really is.
And,
And
I look at friendship the same way.
mhm, yeah, you take for example, like this has happened a lot, and I didn't ask for this, but sometimes back when I was, having to leave the house early when I was working and all that, I'd get up and put the coffee on. And I hit the shower and all that because I got to get going, you know. And time I come out of the shower, guess what? There was a cup of coffee there waiting for me.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, she didn't have to do that,
Right.
but she loved doing that. And the thing of it is, if you're in a relationship, I always want to say this, I don't know why, but if you're in a relationship that's complicated, uncomplicate your life.
Right.
And it's amazing how uncomplicated the relationship will be. Show the
Absolutely.
show the other person some love and kindness and expect nothing in return. It'll
That is
it'll drive them crazy. What's he
right.
being nice to me for? Why is he being nice to me? I
We've
mean,
been known to try and race each other to the kitchen to get the other guy a cup of coffee,
hmm.
or
But
do
we're
dishes or whatever. Uh huh.
yeah. Yeah, when your daughter and all of us and Emerson and Aaron and I went out to Airbnb, if you want to rush over and get me a cup of coffee, I will not get in your way. I'm such a nice guy like that.
Done. Done.
Oh,
My
but
guess is you and I are the early risers anyway.
oh yeah, yeah, we sure are, and we're looking so forward to that because of the friendship and the funship and the
Right.
time that we're going to be together, the energy there. That's what I'm
Right.
excited about, and
Right.
whenever we're almost out of time, but let me say this: you get a group of like-minded people together. You could do it on Zoom. You can, do it in a
In
wherever you want
person.
to in person.
Right.
Yeah, but when you get that kind of energy in there, and you're all focused on the same thing, whether it's making plans or having fun or just getting together, whatever, it is electrifying.
It is.
Well, if
It
time
is.
stood still, I'd be happy as a lark.
Right.
you know.
Right. And then it's a kind of it's kind of energy
Mm,
that you look at the clock when y'all sit down or whatever, and
yeah,
it's whatever 5 o'clock, and next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, and you're like,
yeah. Where'd the time go?
right, holy cow,
Yeah,
it was just 5 o'clock a minute ago,
yeah.
and
That's
that's
that's a
beautiful.
yeah, it really is, and that's the type of environment you need to be in. You need to be in a safe environment. You need to be in an environment people love you, and they care for you. And remember, you need
That
to be around people.
energizes you,
Yeah, you need to be around people that deserve to be in your presence.
right?
I'm not talking about egos here. I'm talking about if you love someone, you love people in general, you show them kindness, then you have the right to expect that in return.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. I
Well,
know what
Jim,
you're going to say.
I know we're out of time for today, but tomorrow we are going to wrap up the show with some really amazing, fun things to do
Yeah.
as just with your friends, whether you're with couples, it doesn't matter. We've got a
Yeah.
couple things it's kind of old school, to be
Yeah.
honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is kind of old school, but
Hmm.
it is never out of style. And
There
we
you
are
go. Yeah.
super excited to share that with you tomorrow.
And Donna's such a good friend to me. She promised we were not going to play trivia tomorrow. That touched my heart, you know.
Right? You're
I got to
welcome,
wipe a
Jim.
tear here now. But
Oh my
ladies and gentlemen,
goodness.
our time is gone, and we sincerely hope and pray that we've been a blessing to you or someone out there. And thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to love yourself first, then you can love others. And also, just as important, give yourself grace. And as Donna likes to say, and be sure and forgive yourself
Yes.
and forget about the past. You can't change it. We've all made mistakes. You don't have a patent on making mistakes. So love yourself, forgive yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Donna,
Uh,
pleasure to be here with you, girl.
you too. We will be same place, same time tomorrow.
You bet. Bye bye.
Bye bye.